Hello, you guys. Welcome today to Discusshan. Today, we're going to be talking about Game 4 of the Lakers and Warriors series, and it's been a really good one. It's been a really good series. The Lakers won Game 4, 104 to 101. Game 3, they won 127 to 97, so a 30-point blowout. The Warriors won Game 2 in Golden State, 127 to 100, so another blowout. And Game 1, the Lakers won 117 to 112. So the Lakers are up 3-1 going back to Golden State. And I don't know. So let's get started. And let's get started with the stats. So the Warriors stats, the Steph Curry, he had a 30-point triple double, 31, 10, and 14. And he shot 12 of 30 from the field, which isn't good typically for Curry. And especially this is a bad Curry night because he shot now for Curry to have a 10 to have a 30-point triple double, it being a bad night just because of his shooting. That's how much Curry's shooting impacts his game. That's how important his game is to um that's how important shooting is to his game. And so Curry shot 3 for 14 from 3. And that's like 3 for 14 from 3, that's like a Lakers entire game, like 3-point shooting game is like not only that, but he had 2 turnovers and 3 steals. Klay, really, really bad game. 9 points, 3 of 11 from the field, 3 for 9 from the field. He made and took no free throws. So it's interesting because Klay, he made one shot, which were threes. He made one shot in the first quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. It wasn't like he had back to back threes or had like a flurry, but he had a really bad game. He made some really good shots, and he missed a lot of really bad shots. Draymond, 8 8 10 7 5 turnovers. Just an okay game from Draymond. He did better compared to what he did in game 3, but that's that's he was bound for a bounce back. So for the Lakers, LeBron, 27 9 and 6. And not this was an okay performance from LeBron. It wasn't that good because he missed a lot of gimmies. Like I remember he was posting up Steph Curry and he missed a wide, like he couldn't make pretty much a layup on Steph Curry. That's how rough of a game it was for LeBron. He shot 10 of 25 from the field, 2 of 9 from 3. So his three-point shot is still it was okay. It was getting better in game 2 and 3, but this game it went back, it sadly regressed back to his playoff average. And he shot 5 for 5 from the free throw line. But what's interesting is that LeBron is actually shooting really good from the free throw line in the playoffs. He's shooting 88%, and that's really uncharacteristic because LeBron, especially this year, he has been a good free throw shooter. Uh, because he's been shooting 75%, which is okay. It's not great, but it's not 88% at all. 88% is like Curry, Clay range. I think Dennis Schroeder is shooting 87% for this season. So for these playoffs, LeBron is shooting as our best free throw shooter in the entire game of 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 our team throughout the season. Um, Anthony Davis, 23 points, 15 rebounds, 3 steals, just another dominant defensive game from AD. And he shot 10 for 16 from the field and 3 for 3 from free throws. And just like LeBron, he's AD is actually shooting really good from the free throw line this year. From in this playoffs, he's shooting 96% from the playoffs. He's only missed one free throw this entire play in the series. He's shooting 96% in the series, to clarify. Um, he's he's only missed one free throw this entire series against Golden State, and he's been really, really good. And in the entire playoffs, AD is shooting 88%. I believe he made 47 out of 53 free throws. And this year, AD, he's been, just like LeBron, okay. Especially coming back from last year, LeBron was shooting like 60% from the free throw line, and AD was shooting 71%. So they both were shooting really bad last year. But this year, he's brought it up to 78%, which is pretty good. But yeah, he's shooting, him and LeBron are shooting way better than uh their season averages from the free throw line. And let's talk about the game stats. They were okay. It was a rough shooting night for both teams. A lot of hard defense, not a lot of fouls called. I'll get to that later. The Warriors shot 46.5% from the field. Lakers shot 45.3. Rough shooting, 3-point shooting night for both teams too. It's common for the Lakers to have a poor shooting night. They shot 24%, 6 to 25 from 3. The Warriors shot 12 for 41 from 3, 29%. That's really, really that's like an outlier moment for the Warriors to shoot 29%. Lakers 100% from the free throw line, 20 and 20, and 9 for 12 for the Warriors, 75%. I don't really want to talk about the free throws, but aside from that, the assist discrepancy was really big, was pretty decent. 29 to 21 favor for the Warriors. And aside from that, it's been pretty even everywhere else. So this game was a roller coaster ride of a game, just like pretty much every other game. The Lakers game one, it was a it was a it was pretty much Lakers at the beginning, or for majority of the game, the Lakers were the best team for 3 quarters for 45 minutes. But after that, the Warriors, they went on a 14-0 run, and they couldn't get the deal done. The Lakers won 117 to 120. Game 2, Lakers are trash. Game 3, Lakers are great. But this game, it was the epitome uh of basketball being a game of runs. And I mean runs by, like, they'll go on like streaks, basically. So for the first quarter, the Warriors went on. There were 5 different runs in this entire game that weren't just back and forth scoring. The Warriors in the first quarter, 8-0 run. Then the Lakers went on a 10-0 run. Second quarter, Lakers won an 8-0 run. And third quarter, the Lakers won an 8-0 run between LeBron and Reeves. And the Warriors went on an 11-0 run. So it was just back and forth, and then boom, and then boom, and then back and forth, then boom, boom, back and forth, boom, boom, and then the fourth quarter was just trading buckets all the time between Curry and Lonnie Walker, and I'll get back to that and later in the episode. So, like I mentioned earlier, the two superstars dominated. It was, and these have been the two best players this entire um series, AD and Steph Curry. AD, he dominated in the first half. He was every bit of, you would have thought that AD was going to go for 30, 40. So in the first half, AD had 19 points, 8 to 10 from the field, 3 for 3 from the free throws, and 6 rebounds. So AD had a great scoring first half. He pretty much bailed out the Lakers with a lot of tough mid-range shots, tough post-ups, and if the Lakers couldn't get anything going, they would just throw it to AD and say, "Save us, get us a bucket," and that's what he did. For Curry, he pretty much carried with his playmaking. Yeah, he had 31 points, but he missed a lot of shots. He missed a lot of threes. If Curry's shot was going in, he probably would have had a 40-point triple double, or even a 45-point triple double. And he pretty much carried with his playmaking because his passes out of the pick and roll, specifically the high pick and roll, was were really good. Whether it was to the rollers being Draymond or Gary Payton too, or it was the shooters like Wiggins or Clay or DiVincenzo. He had 13 assists in 3 quarters. So Steph Curry, just like game two, his playmaking was outstanding. And it was really because of the Lakers. It was because of the Warriors making an adjustment for this game. So for game one, they started, so they had the same four, the same core four. They had Curry, Clay, Draymond, and Wiggins. Those are their same four. Those are their best four players. And and then after that, they've been kind of changing up the fifth player. So for game one, they had Kevon Looney starting. Game two, they switched it up, have JaMychal Green starting, and also for game three, he started as well. But for this game, for game four, they had Gary Payton the second start instead of JaMychal Green, and it changed things up because when you change up the starting lineup, it kind of, since the Lakers are a defensive minded team, it kind of, you think about the matchups immediately when they announce the starting lineups for either side. And the Warriors, their defensive assignments, it pretty much changed. It wasn't the same as last game. Clay was on, or it was, most majority of it was still the same. Clay was still on Reeves, Wiggins was still on LeBron, Draymond was still on AD. But this game, Steph was on Vando, which makes sense, you know. Vando's not a scorer, so Steph, he could just relax on defense and not really try to have to guard anyone. Uh, Gary Payne the second, he was on D'Lo, and so it was pretty much because of D'Lo going off in game three, in which he only really did in like the first quarter, in the first, mainly in the first half, but it was it was pretty much an overreaction if we really want to think about it. But that's what they did, and it worked out well because D'Lo, he shot really bad. He had a really bad game. It was so funny because I noticed that he had black shoes to start the game, and then he switched back to white shoes. I'm assuming it's like a superstition thing that he wanted to switch back because he didn't like how it felt. I don't know. But D'Lo had 4 points. He shot 1 for 10 from the field, 0 for 4 from three, and that's he had a really bad shooting game. Be convinced though, D'Lo, his shooting games are the way like he gets his buckets. Like he's like Chris Middleton in terms of he's the way he gets to his spots, the way he gets his shots up are really nice, but they just don't go in. You know, it's not um like he's a bad shooter or a bad scorer. He's a great offensive player. It's just the shot wasn't going in this game. So the adjustment worked for Steve Kerr. And for the Lakers, the defensive assignments uh, were pretty much the same. Because instead of having JaMychal Green, you had Gary Payne, and AD was on Gary Payne. You know, so it wasn't that big of a difference. But in the second half, they changed it. I don't know why they changed it, but they changed it. I guess mm, I don't know why they changed it, to be honest. But D'Lo was still on Clay, but then it changed after that. Reeves was on Gary Payne. AD was on Wiggins. Vando was on Curry, just like how he did in game one and game two. And LeBron was on Draymond. So interesting switch, but switch nonetheless. But was good about the Warriors is that their fifth man, whoever it may be, they're they have an impact right from the jump, right from the right when they start them. They have a really good game. In game one, Looney in 29 minutes, he had 10 points, 23 rebounds, I believe 7 offensive rebounds and 5 assists. Super good. 20, 10, 20, and 5 for your starting center, who's your fifth best player. And for JaMychal Green, he in 12 minutes, so in a very short amount of time, he had 15 points, 3 of 6 from three. Super productive. Peyton, 23 points, 23 in 23 minutes. He scored 15 points and 7-9 from the field. All layups except for one wide open three. So whoever the fifth starter it may be, it's they've been super mega productive in their first start. Now in their second start, it might be different because Michael Green was really bad in his third in his second start in game three. But let's see if they stick with the same lineup because Gary Payton he left the game multiple times because of I believe his back or something like that. But when he was in the game, he was super productive, and it was evident through the Warriors' high pick and roll. And they were pretty much Curry was spamming high pick and rolls or just pick and rolls in general with Gary Payton. And it was in order to get AD away from the rim because the reason why AD and specifically the Lakers defense is so good because they can run this insane drop coverage. They keep AD at the rim. And AD is one of the best, if not the best defensive player, and he's for sure the best shot blocker in the NBA right now. And that's why the Warriors haven't been getting in the paint, and that's why the free throw discrepancy is so big because they don't. One, the Warriors aren't a paint oriented team, and two, they can't really get shots up because AD is either blocking them, altering them, or they're not even attempting it with them, with him in the paint. So the best way to get AD out of the paint is to get his man, which is Gary Payne, onto screen actions with Steph, and because obviously Steph can't be because AD can be in super low drop coverage, he has to put a hand up on Steph because it's Steph freaking Curry. But it worked a lot because they went to it a lot at the start of the game. That's how Gary Payton got a lot of his points were just rolls to the rim, and Steph Curry. That's where like half of his assists came from were just to Gary Payton pick and rolls. And it worked out because Gary Payne, unlike JaMychal Green or Looney, is that he's fast. He's like his foot speed is faster than 80s. JaMychal Green and Looney's were not faster than 80. Gary Payne's was a lot faster. And so 80 he couldn't recover in time because it's easier when you have a footed center rolling to the rim because with Steph Curry because since he has to go up so high for Steph, he has he has time to he doesn't have a lot of time and he has a lot of space to try to recover back to the roller, and that's why Draymond pretty much kicked their ass because Draymond he's quicker than AD, and that's what Gary Payton did for AD. That's how he caused problem for AD was that he was too fast on the rolls and just layups or just give backs to Steph Curry. But let's get to the fourth quarter. And the this was the pretty much the moment of the game. This is the iconic performance of this entire series. I feel like this performance this from this quarter was more iconic than 80's 30 and 20 game. It was more iconic than D'Lo's 25-point game, and it was it was in this quarter. I'll get to it later. I'll get to it at the end. So in the fourth quarter, the Warriors, it was pretty much just Curry. Curry, he carried the entire offense, not just for the quarter, but for their entire game. He was pretty much their offense. But at the end of the game, they choked really bad. The Warriors, it was a bad collapse. Curry, he had a bad turnover, like a really bad turnover. It's not like Draymond's where Draymond's turnover to try to try to get an opportunity to tie the game for three, where Draymond he threw it to a Laker defender. Curry's was really bad. He got the ball, he was on the ground, and he just threw it back to no one. I guess he thought that there was a Warrior one of his teammates there, but he just threw it away. And so he just two costly turnovers by by the two smartest players on the Warriors in Curry and Draymond, the two smartest playmakers on the Warriors. And not only that, but man, Klay was really bad. He took a moving contested, highly contested shot on the left wing, and everyone was like, what are you doing, bro? Like, come on. Not only that, but then he took another 30-foot Steph Curry like deep 3-point shot that was also very highly contested, and obviously he bricked it. And yeah, it's Klay Thompson, but still. And it wasn't even like Jordan Poole in game 1 where Poole was wide open. This is where Klay was he had someone in his jersey. That's how tight of a shot it was. So he couldn't even do anything about it. And that's why the Warriors' big three completely choked in the fourth quarter. But the Lakers did not choke on the other hand. AD in the second half, he had like 90% of his points of his offensive production were in the first half. In the second half, and especially in the fourth quarter, he played really, really good defense. And especially in this one moment right here, this one moment in the fourth quarter where where AD switched on to Curry, and Curry tried to ISO him and get a three up off of him, and he missed because AD played really, really good defense. And it's hard and it's hard to understand, or it's crazy that he did this because AD is known to foul shooters, 3-point shooters at the end of the games to give the game away. For example, against Dallas, he fouled Maxi Kleber, who was, who made a three before the game, or he um, fouled him at the top of the key, and he had three free throws. And after that, he, I think it was AD, he left him wide open, and Kleber made a three to win the game for the Mavs, where Luca wasn't playing. And this was a game in the regular season that the Lakers needed to win to get into the playoffs. Obviously, it doesn't matter because we're in the playoffs. But another time was when, like, in the play-in, the the Timberwolves were down by 3, and AD fouled Conley at the corner at a last like less than a second left in the game type of shot. He fouled him. The Thankfully, the Lakers won in overtime, and they stuffed the Timberwolves offense. But as Laker fans, we're so used to AD just fouling great 3-point shooters towards the end of the game. But for AD to not only stop the greatest shooter of all time in one of the biggest moments in the biggest moment of the season, twice back to back times, it says a lot, and it goes to show that AD is not only a great an elite defender just by his rim protection, but also by his ability to switch not to just guards, but onto arguably the greatest guard or the greatest point guard of all time. So, it's just crazy to see how AD showed off his defense, especially in the second. I was impressed in the first time Steph got up a 3-point shot, but in the second time, it was even more impressive because the Warriors are almost they kill they killed the Lakers on offensive rebounds, especially when AD is not by the paint. Because if AD's in the paint, it's for sure defensive rebound for the Lakers. But if AD's not in the paint, in which he wasn't because he was on Curry, it's offensive rebound, kick out, three, game, or tie game. But he threw it back out, and AD still didn't foul. Highly contested, played really good defense, and he forced Curry to miss two of the biggest 3-point shot attempts of the game. That could have tied the game, went to overtime, and who knows what happened. But AD's defense in that specific moment was incredible. It's not your typical AD blocking shots or altering shots or even deflecting passes, but it was his his ability to switch onto any position. And this playoffs, this series, these four games have gone to shown us that AD is probably the most complete defender in the entire NBA, because he's shown us already in the Memphis series that he's an elite shot blocker, and in game 3 he shows that he's elite at deflecting passes and stuffing pick and rolls. But in game 4 he shows that he can switch onto Steph Curry and guard point guards. He can guard the paint, he can guard pick and rolls, and he can guard guards, basically. And Curry only made like 2 shots on 80 out of the multiple times, many times that he switched on to Steph, and he stopped him in the most important time of the game. So let's talk about LeBron. LeBron in the fourth quarter, it was pretty much like old LeBron, Cavs LeBron versus Curry, where he just matchup punted Curry the entire time, and that's why Lonnie got a lot of action, because Curry was on Lonnie for pretty much the entire fourth quarter. So he's kept switching onto Curry. And even if the Warriors tried to pre-switch screens so they didn't let LeBron get onto Curry, he still found a way and got into Curry. And LeBron scored or assisted on 13 points of the Lakers' 27 fourth quarter points. And not only that, but he showed it on the other end of the court. He played excellent switch defense on Curry, and he pretty much, I don't think I remember any time where LeBron he got switched on Curry and Curry scored. I don't think he scored anything, or maybe just of once on LeBron in the entire fourth quarter. And 38 years old trying to guard the best point guard in the NBA, it's it's insane. Both AD and LeBron show that, keep showing us new things every single time they play. But let's finally get to the man of the game, of the game of game IV, game 4. Lonnie Walker IV. This was, as everyone is saying, this is the Lonnie game, and for good reason. So Lonnie got actual minutes in game, like rotational minutes in game 3, in where he took over the Troy Brown / Malik Beasley role for just that other guy aside from Schroeder or Rui, and who got, that eighth man who got minutes. And it was Malik Beasley, can make it. He's a 3-point shooter who can make 3-point shots. Troy Brown Jr., he's a 3 and D player who can make threes or he can make threes or defend. But Lonnie, he can do both. Not only can he do both, but he can do more than that. Lonnie in game 3 showed that he can create his own shot, and he can obviously make 3-point shots. And then he also showed, which is more important, how he can defend on ball at a really good um he can defend really good on ball. And so this game, the fourth game, Lonnie the fourth game, it was insane. Lonnie the fourth in game 4 in the fourth quarter. He scored 15 points, and all of them came in the fourth quarter. He didn't score a lick in the first half or even the third quarter, but in the fourth quarter, not only did he make all of his shots in the fourth quarter, but he took all of his shots in the fourth quarter. Lonnie, he was 6 for 9 in the fourth quarter, making shot after shot after shot. I mean, the Lakers were down bad. You know, they just came off a pretty okay, like I said, a roller coaster ride of a game in the first 3 quarters. And in the fourth quarter, Lonnie pretty much carried the entire Lakers offense. He scored more than half of the Lakers' fourth quarter points. That's how great he was. And honestly, Lonnie probably could have gone for 20, 25 points if he wanted to, or if he made all of his shots. And yeah, you can't make all of your shots, but or it's very rare to make all of your shots, but all the shots that Lonnie missed, they were really, really good shots. Okay, let's go through them. His first missed shot, he dropped Curry from a half spin and airballed a baseline mid range shot. If you drop Curry, if he would have made that shot, the whole crowd would have erupted and the Warriors would have called a timeout to, calm things down. But it kind of worked in the end. It was a blessing in disguise that he missed, because if the Warriors called timeout, it would have stopped the momentum of the game. But his second missed shot, he missed a wide open three in the right on the right wing, and it went in and out. It hit the rim, rolled right out. His second missed shot was another lightly contested three from Wiggins that went also in and out. And so Lonnie, he pretty much just he was amazing. He was key. He was super important for the Lakers offense in the fourth quarter. But not only that, he played really good defense on in the fourth quarter too. Whether it was on Curry, he was slipping through screens, staying on him. And since Lonnie, he's athletic and he's pretty built. He's pretty strong. He can stay with Curry and he doesn't get pushed off um like how Schroeder gets pushed off or Reeves gets pushed off. But Lonnie's big enough to stay with Curry, and he's also showed throughout the season, and especially in the first half, that he's a good defender. He's not just a scorer or just a dunker, but he's developed his game into being an all around player, to where not only is he athletic, but he's also a really good shooter. He can also create for himself, and he can also defend players at a certain ability. But he guarded Steph really good. He's guarded Poole really good in the game, and he also guarded Wiggins really good. And it helped because um in the start of the season, he was pretty much just guarding threes. He was guarding wings. Uh, he was guarding small forwards, because at the start of the season, the starting lineup was of course AD and LeBron, but it was also at point guard you had Russ. At shooting guard you had Pat Bev. Russ 6'3", 6'4". Pat Bev 6'1", 6'2", and Lonnie 6'4". So you had Lonnie guarding small forwards, a 6'4" combo guard or 6'4" shooting guard guarding tall, athletic, strong, scoring forwards. And I feel like the work he did, the defensive work he did, pretty much prepped him up for this game, for this series, to guard threes in this series. And it's not like he's guarding a scrub, but Wiggins is really good. He's not a scrub at all. He's a really good player. And this was the Lonnie game. This was Lonnie the fourth in the fourth quarter of the fourth game. But here's a couple things I noticed before we end the episode. A few things that I noticed that I like. These are just some small, like, miscellaneous type of things that I noticed in the game or in the series. But Klay, he can't guard Reeves or D'Lo. He's too slow and he's too dumb, because he goes for all the shot fakes, all the crafty things that D'Lo and Reeves do to get players in the air or to get you know players in foul trouble. Klay, he can't guard them. He's way too slow, and the Lakers should look to attack that too, especially if you want to slow down his 3-point shooting, in which it was really good in two of the games. If you want to slow down his 3-point shooting, you have to make him work on defense, and only way you're going to do that is by letting your guards, Reeves or Schroeder, or even Reeves or D'Lo or even Schroeder, just let them attack Klay, because just like how I mentioned in the last episode that LeBron's on-ball defense or his closeout defense is really bad, Klay's just on-ball defense is also really bad. But speaking of Schroeder, one of the things that I really liked, or that kind of like was a fun matchup for me to watch all the time, is um the Schroeder and DiVincenzo matchup, especially in on when the Lakers are on offense and the Warriors are on defense. It's kind of cool seeing, or it's kind of interesting to see uh Dennis Schroeder score um on DiVincenzo, because Schroeder, he's a crafty, quick, change of pace point guard who likes to get to the rim or likes those pull up, fadeaway, mid range shots. And DiVincenzo, he's a really good defender. The Warriors have really good guard defenders. Aside from Curry, everyone else, aside from Curry and Poole, and probably Klay, but Klay's more of like a forward nowadays. But aside from those two, and Steph a little bit less, but aside from those two, their guards can defend. Gary Payton, DiVincenzo, and Moses Moody. All those guys are are good defenders. And yeah, that was a really cool matchup for me to see. But another thing I noticed was that the Austin Reeves and LeBron connection this game was working, and you can see it like throughout the game, because everyone wants wanted Reeves in the beginning to be the predecessor or the successor to Caruso, because the Caruso and LeBron connection was it was once in a lifetime. I hopefully Caruso is a free agent, I think, coming up this year. So hopefully we get to see him, maybe back in a Laker uniform, because imagine a Laker lineup of Caruso, obviously LeBron and AD. Then also you also have Vando, you have um Reeves, and you have Caruso. That's like 2020 type of Lakers defense, because if Reeves is your worst defender or Braun is your worst defender, then you've got something unstoppable or immovable. But yeah, the Reeves and LeBron connection was working. I think they combined for like 20 to 15 points, especially in that third quarter run where the Lakers went on at a like a 10-0 run. Reeves and LeBron, they pretty much just worked together to get open 3-point shots and open cuts to the like passes to cutters or whatever. That connection is really good. But one of the biggest things that I noticed, and if this is Lakers Nation, this will be my quote unquote master lock. So my master lock for this game were the refs. Oh my gosh, they were so bad. Like, it's not even just on the Lakers side, but they were also bad on the Warriors end too. Of course, me being a Lakers fan, mainly noticed that they don't call stuff for the Lakers, which is every game. They don't call stuff for the Lakers because even though, the free throw discrepancy is really big, it should be even bigger given how much they foul LeBron and they don't call it, or how much they foul AD and they don't call it. They should be honestly the Lakers should be shooting way more free throws. That's in my opinion. But in this game specifically, they didn't call pretty much let them play because they didn't call a lot of stuff. Yeah, they made some bad calls too, but they missed a lot of calls. From what I counted, they missed 14 calls, whether it be, you know, like and not even just fouls, but even like um turnovers or whatever it may be. Like at the end, that shouldn't have been a jump ball. That should have been a foul, or should have at least been a timeout, and they missed it too. But not only that, what another thing, like a thing that I noticed about the refs is that they let Wiggins be super physical with LeBron. I don't know why. Wiggins should be called for way more fouls, like reaching fouls or hip checks, but Wiggins should be called for way more fouls on LeBron because he keeps reaching in. He keeps trying to get the ball from LeBron, obviously, but you gotta play clean, bro. So those are some of the things I noticed, and the Warriors' adjustment of having Gary Payton start was really good. But let's see how Darvin Ham makes adjustments to the Warriors' adjustments. So I think Game 5. This is my prediction. The Warriors are -6.5 at home at the Chase Center for Game Five. I think the Lakers are gonna lose because that's just how they usually are, and that's what the corgi thinks. So I think the Lakers are gonna lose Game Five and come back home and win Game Six. I hope. I do wish that the Lakers would win at Game Five just to get the series over with. So we don't have to deal with any more unknowns or variables. But I predict that the Lakers win Game Six, lose Game Five, just like how they did with the Memphis series. Because just like in the 2020 year, the Lakers just pretty much had the same exact series for the um entire playoff run. They lost Game One, swept in the second round, lost Game Two, lost Game One, swept. In this third round, lost Game One, swept. So I think this year, I think it'll be I think the games will go to 6 games for the Lakers. So I think they'll lose Game Five and they'll win Game Six to go to the next round versus the Nuggets, the winners of the Nuggets and the Suns. So thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. And Lakers.